Hello YouTube fans, here again. I remember reviewing this one before, Tacit on a Mover. It should say it's sort of a video nasty, but it was not. What I mean by that, in the golden days of the video, this taught the eyes again by the priest, but funny enough, it was not a video nasty. It was not a video nasty. I do know it was banned in a number of countries, but again, without repeating myself, it was not classed as one of the video nasties. But with a name, you can definitely see why it tore the pieces eyeballs. That being the Tacit by John Hooper, one of the best directors, one of the best producers, may he rest in peace. That being the Tacit, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's right, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what a damn good movie. Now, when this come out and I heard about it, I never saw it originally. I thought it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a madman with a chainsaw, slicing and dicing, and blah, 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 blah. But it was not. But what I got was a very cleverly made, produced, directed movie by a very good director. Say it again, John Hooper. And this is definitely an highlight of a movie. I do know a couple of years later he did one called, am I right there? Death Tap, which funny enough is called Eaten Alive, what was named of another video nasty. And Death Tap, that was a video nasty. This one was not, even though you think with a name called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was. And the funny thing is, this was inspired by a true story. No, not in real life. There was not a madman with gold leather face, with someone's face stuck on his face, slicing and dicing and whacking people with a fucking mallet like it's Timmy fucking Mallet. But what I mean by it was sort of inspired by a true story. There was a madman, and I think right, he was in the 50s, and he was killing women and people, and he was making ornaments out of them, out of the skin, I'll put him off your dinner. And he was digging up dead bodies, the remains of dead people, and making ornaments out of them. And that's what inspired them to use the idea in the beginning and so on in the film, where you've got like body parts made to look like an ornament. You've got a dead corpse stuck on a flipping cemetery stone. You're digging up bodies and all this and making things out of it. That was the idea that was used from that. It was inspired by that. So let's go with the bloody film. It is a very deftly made film because it just makes you think it is a true story, because you get a monologue and you get words coming up going on about based in 1973, which is funny, it was a 74 film, and about these young people who sadly lost their lives. They got killed by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this inspired a lot of other horror movies to use that trope, like The Hills of Eyes Part 2, the original one. They used the same sort of monologue with the words coming up and showing what happened in the original fight. The original The Hills of Eyes, I meant to say. So it used the same monologue from The Hills of Eyes Part 2, and they used the lines from what was used in the original one, I meant to say. And it was inspired by this. I also used a lot of pops from this later on in a lot of other films, so it'd be the original The Hills of Eyes, and funny enough, was also used in the original The Howling. A bit of interesting history. Let's come with the bloody film. Like I say, you got a good monologue, and then you've got these young people, they're young, I'm 16, and they pick this hitchhiker. You get them telling a story, and that's the bit where I say you got a waxing tops, really looks cheaper, the music is cheaper. And the type of Texas, it's another all like the Salt Dyers. This really all Texas, down and out, down and dirty. You see this fucking drunken champ talking shit because he's pissed as a fart. And like I say, they pick this hitchhiker up. But first, he's a bit weird. He's acting weird. You got the idea he works in a slaughterhouse. So they're saying they don't do it like they used to do. They used to twat them on the head, and it was like that. And they basically think he's weird, and he does go weird. He lights something, burns something, and then cuts his fucking hand, and then goes ape, so they kick him out. My only issue is he's got one died, he's in a wheelchair. Now, I don't know, in real life, I believe he was being annoyated in real life to get into that character. He has the most whining voice, one of the most annoying, fucking characters in horror movie history. Whether it's like that in real life, I do not know, but he was so fucking annoying. I was hoping that Leatherface would get him first. As they say, that's not the case. So you got a couple, and at first, this guy's working in near a tarard. They want him not to go to this area, but they ignore him, which is their downfall. And they end up in this abandoned house. There's, like I say, some seedy bits. The music's cheapy, it's chilling, it's nerfing. Very definitely directed by Tony Hooper. And this couple find an abandoned house, what they think is an abandoned house. Dude's got nice legs, got a nice ass, but that's not the idea of the film. The boyfriend wanders in, and that's when you do see Leatherface by one of the best actors. May he rest in peace, the original actor that played Leatherface. Comes in, the door slams open, he's got that big weird face, Diamo, fucking twats the boyfriend, he's having a fit on a seesaw, fucking twats him again for dud messer, and kills the fucker, and then drags him in and slams the door. The door walks in, she sees the body parts, she shits herself, knacks her, she runs out, Leatherface gets her. You think like most horror movies, she's going to get out in the nick of time. And that's what I love about this film. That's not the case. He gets her, drags her back in, slams her on her hook. That's something else about this film. That's something else. You do not see any blood. There's no blood, there's no door, there's no snot. Don't let the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre fool you. There's no blood and gore in this fucking film. And that's what I like about it. It pays on your fear. When he slams that door in the hook, you don't actually see her back going in the hook. You don't see any blood spurting out or anything. When he pulls the chainsaw out, he's sawing the fucking hubby up. You don't see it. And sometimes that is very tough. Sometimes not seeing is more nerving than seeing. So I respect the film for that. Very well directed again by John Hooper. So he kills both. Then you got Barbara, this girl called Barbara, I think it's name's Barbara Ruber, who's funny enough appears in a John Hooper film, being Death Trap. It's also sadly no longer with us. So Barbara's working, I think it's Barbara, no, I'm thinking Night of the Living Dead. The name could be called Ruby, right? And she's whinging and moaning because she's being dying. Oh, her boyfriend wanders in, and then Jimmy Marriott, it must be called Jimmy fucking Marriott more than Leatherface, because he gets twatted. You see, they have to sort to that girl when he rammed on the hook. She's in a fit. She twats her and makes sure she's dead this time. Gets a boyfriend, twats him. Again, no blood. But you do get that cheapy sort of music. Then you got the brother on the wheelchair. He puts his puss in him. Then Leatherface comes out of dodge. Slices, you got that he slices a brother in half. Again, no blood. Don't need to see it half the time. And this is her downfall. She goes into the same place. Remember the place where it's in the tarards and the guy's working in the car wash place, warned not to go there. Surprise, surprise. He's actually a member of the family of Leatherface. If you've never seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I apologise if you ruin it for you. But there you go. And he adopts her. But there's a bit where he's got a bag on her, he's torturing her, he's fucking ramming a broomstick on her, he's getting off and she's crying and she's scared. And she passes out and she wakes up again. And I love the bit where she's tied to a chair and eating Leatherface. Oh, and to cut the story short, the one who cut his hand and he kicked out the fan, the hitchhiker, he's also, I think, he's one of the cousins or the brother of Leatherface. It's like a family of psychopaths. So they're making fun of her, she's crying, you see like spots of her eyes all red where she's been crying. You've got really nerving music, and they're sort of cool in one way. They're making fun of her, they're taking the mick out of her fear. Not that they're physically hurting her, but they're mentally torturing her with fear. And then they go and get, they're about to finish her off. They've got this old guy, believe it or not, was a long Chinese guy. And all they did was to put makeup on him and made him look old, like he's 100 and something. And he's trying to twat this poor girl. Misses a number of times, and the girl, he misses, gets a lucky move, gets a lucky escape. She runs, jumps through a window, showing how desperate she is. Leatherface chases, so he accidentally cuts his leg, there's a dopey fuck, and he falls, and the saw nips his leg a little bit. It doesn't cut it off, it just nips him. And he gets back up, he's chasing her, this fucking big chubby tie, don't mean to be horrible, but he is. Falls her hammer and twats Leatherface. That's before he cuts his leg. Then she gets into, I think, a truck or one of them little car things. She's laughing hysterical with tire all over her. Leatherface, oh, the buff is dying to get her, the one who cut his hand, he's dying to get her knob. He's a fucking dopey fucker. He gets hit by a truck and gets turned to fucking muss. But then Leatherface, like I say, she's laughing hysterical like a knob out of fear. Tire and blood all over her. Leatherface is waving a fucking chainsaw around like he's doing Ring Roses with a chainsaw in his hand. End of movie. But it's definitely a good film. It's very well directed. It's very nerving. It's very chilling when it wants to be. It's a very clever piece by John Hooper. May he rest in peace. And there's always been that debate. I'm not going to say about it now. Who directed Poltergeist? Leave that for another day. But yeah, John Hooper did a lot of damn good movies after this. He directed some of my favourite TV shows, that being Freddy's Nightmares. He worked on Life Force. Never seen Life Force. I reviewed it loads of times. A very good sci-fi sort of horror action film all rolled into one. He also directed one was a video nasty with Freddy Krueger himself being Robert England in Death Trap. Very good film. So he's definitely a good director, and this was his big break, being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yes, it was banned in some countries, but the thing was, it was never a video nasty, but it almost caught the eye of the piece just by the title name, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So when I'm talking about video nasties, this was not on the list, but almost caught the eye of the bobbies when I was reading all the video stalls. It almost raided that because of the title. But I would say it wasn't. I'd say it was ahead of its time and it inspired. I mean, after 1974, this inspired a lot of slasher films. You know what I mean? 1978, you had Halloween, the one I almost sipped up when I was talking about other films. In 1980, you had Friday the 13th. Then you had the sequels with Jason. Inspired a lot of them sort of films, and this was the film that inspired that, whether it be Black Christmas, whether it be the ones I've just said. This inspired them films. So Leatherface, was you could say, was the first slice and dice, but it's not a bloodbath. You're going into it for blood and gore. Wait till you get to the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was directed by John Hooper. Wait till you get to the third one, which sadly got by the fucking MPA. Get to the other ones, you want to see blood and gore. This wasn't really bloodbath. It was more psychological. It was more suspenseful. It paid on your fear. And that's what I love about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But into them, be smart, be safe, and I'll see you later.